COVID-19 has turned Canada's post-secondary world upside down. Just think about the main features of campus life. Residences, lecture halls, libraries, clubs, sports, and parties. It doesn't exactly scream physical distancing. So this fall, returning and incoming students will face a lot of challenges, like how they'll be taught and where they'll live. Lots of questions for post-secondary decision makers to answer. And joining us now, two of those post-secondary decision makers. Ann Sato is the president of George Brown College in Toronto, and Santa Ono, the president and vice chancellor of UBC here in Vancouver. So we have some questions from university and college students, and the first one deals with that very issue of physical distancing, which I think is going to be easier in some places than others. Let's hear Ali's question.
I know a lot of universities have already announced that they're going to move online for the fall semester, and I was just wondering what would happen to those courses that have a mandatory in-person component, such as labs for organic chemistry.
So Anne, that is going to be a challenge, whether it's chemistry or other things. How are you going to deal with the labs, for example?
Well, this is a question near and dear to my heart, since so much of what we do in college especially is about applied education. While our faculty are being amazingly creative in changing things up, we are changing how we teach or when we teach certain things. So maybe we'll start with theory and then get on to the labs a little bit later in the semester. We'll be using simulation software and virtual reality, which work very well already in a lot of our programs. And in fact, this summer, we'll be trialing and piloting, bringing back some students into labs with the right physical distancing and the right controls so that we can make sure that we keep them healthy and safe.
And Santa, what about at UBC?
Very, very similarly, we will be using simulation and virtual reality. We also are actually mapping out what we can actually do face-to-face on campus. We believe that we have the facilities to have some of that happening. I guess one thing that's unique is we think that not so much for chemistry, but maybe for engineering, that we might actually be able to send some of those materials for a laboratory to a home if someone is actually studying from home.
So with all of these things, there's the question of, what can you do online, for example? What can you simulate? But then there's that whole sense of campus culture, right? And this brings us to the question that's next. It's from Sarah, and it's one that I know a lot of students are wondering about.
A lot of us future first years are curious about what will happen in regards to residences. If classes are moved online, will residences still be open for students? And if not, what will the universities do to compensate for the loss of networking and connections that is made through living on campus?
Santa, what about at UBC?
Well, we really are thinking intensively about how to provide that. This term, actually, we had almost 8,000 or 9,000 students staying on campus throughout the term. So we really have had a chance to test this, and we are able to have students in residence and also to provide meals in a grab and go kind of situation. So we are confident that we will have students in residence at UBC.
So I think back to the residences my kids were in, one at UBC, one at Bishop's in Quebec, and I can't even picture what physical distancing, Santa, would look like in there. How have you managed to do it, for example, in the summertime or in the spring, I guess, at UBC?
We're very fortunate that most of our rooms at UBC are singles. And certainly we'll be working very closely with the public health authorities to make sure that we abide by all public health guidelines. But we have singles, and we will certainly have to step up hygiene and cleaning of shared bathrooms. And we have also have certain lounges and areas that people congregate off limits. So we have some experience with that.
And Anne, George Brown, you have at least one residence. How are you going to manage that?
We do, not as many students, but we actually have about 175 students living in our one residence of normally 500. We have a newer residence, so it has, again, standalone units, and we've moved one student into a 2-bedroom unit so that we can make sure that they're safe. And as we're doing this, we are working out the plans for the fall to ensure that we can accommodate more students and still keep them healthy. And we also have a number of different food options that we've arranged and made available, which are proving very positive this summer.
All right, let's get to another question now. This one is about international students.
My name is Aditya, and I'm an international student at Ryerson University. My question is, what will happen to international students? Will schools be accepting less of them or any at all in the fall?
Santa?
We certainly are accepting international students, and we actually have an increase in the number of international students that have put down deposits to matriculate at UBC. They're a very, very important part of our institution. They contribute to not only academic parts of the community, but everything that brings UBC together. And so we are expecting lots of international students at UBC this year.
And what's the situation at George Brown?
Absolutely the same. We have about 30% of our students are international students. Many of them are here already and they are continuing their studies. I think the issue will be whether or not students can get visas from their home countries and whether or not they'll be able to travel to Canada for the fall. But our immigration federal government folks have actually allowed students to continue to study online and still be eligible for their postgraduate work permits, which are very important to the majority of the students that come to study in Canada. So we're definitely accepting them and welcoming them, but do expect if they come physically for the fall, they will have to self-quarantine for 2 weeks before they can start their new lives in Canada.
We have 30 seconds left, so not much time at all, but I'll ask each of you, beginning with Santa, how do you feel about the fall term at your university?
Well, certainly the health and safety of our students, the entire community, is our top priority. But we are preparing for a high quality experience in and out of the classroom, and we're really looking forward to the start of this academic year.
And Anne, last word to you.
Absolutely feel the same way. We're working very hard to make sure that the experience that our students have, even if it is online, at least to start, is high quality and that they will learn all of their outcomes. And we have so many supports available for them in different formats. We're really creating a lot of social communities just in different ways.
Well, for universities, colleges, and so many other businesses, 6 months ago you had no idea you were going to have this big challenge, and good luck to both of you. Thanks for speaking with us tonight.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.